Hello there, this is Juan Gabriel Cegarra from Technical University of Cartagena. I am going to present this work, which is entitled Back Counter Knowledge, Case Studies and Countermeasures. In this work I have collaborated with my very good friend Ettore Bolisani from the University of Padova. Our intention was to present this paper in the International Conference on Businesses, which should have been held in Romania, in Bucharest. In March 2020, but due to the lockdown of the COVID-19, as you know, this conference has been transformed into a virtual one, and therefore we have also transformed our presentation in a virtual one. We do hope you enjoy with this presentation and with the rest of the conference. It is clear that in the information and knowledge society, information is power. However, unverified information or even false information emerge as another pandemic that devastates the world. Whether we like it or not, we need to be aware of the risks which we are exposed to when we use this unverified or false information. All these ideas are included in the concept of counter-knowledge. Damian Thompson in 2008 defines counter-knowledge as misinformation packaged to look like fact. Well, it should be noted here that the possession of counter-knowledge is not something necessarily bad, as Cegarra, Sanchez and others in 2017, drawing on the readings of Jerkowicz, say counter-knowledge may be used in a fun way as a mechanism to raise the people's mood, encourage cooperations, relieve stress, or even as a way to check reality. Well, there are other authors, for instance Martinez, Ortiz and others, or Lee and Pistole, who say that those acquiring this misinformation may think they have acquired true knowledge and may change their view of reality. Of course, when that happens, they can make wrong decisions or generate doubts about other sources of information. What I am trying to say is that counter-knowledge could be considered as an stressor variable, which means can have positive and also negative effect. On this study, we are going to focus on the negative effect of counter-knowledge when that is misused and can generate fake news. Fake news is a good example of misusing counter-knowledge. Fake news can be defined as fabricated news, typically by anonymous sources that spread false views by manipulating their consumers' emotions and tapping into deeply held partisan beliefs. It's clear that social media helps to spread false news, which is an important issue. A recent study of Barcelona Pompeu Fabra University told us that most of this fake news is created by governments, political parties and businesses. Which are the reasons to do that? Well, there are several reasons. For instance, manipulate people's opinion, make easy money from exploiting goodwill of people or their native. There are several reasons to spread fake news, and we need to be aware that when that happens, we need to work to look for mechanisms to overcome the presence of fake news. It should be noted that scientific institutions are also exposed to counter-knowledge. Well, here we find a serious problem because people are more likely to believe in these scientific institutions. When they find out later that these institutions were also using unverified sources of information, they can feel frustrated and very angry. A good example of this situation could be the Women's Day marches in Spain, where despite coronavirus fears, tens of thousands of people were across the country just because the Ministry of Health of Spain supported these marches. From a knowledge management perspective, we do think that there are three motivations to perform this study. 1. The misusing of content knowledge. 2. the impact of content knowledge on a person's knowledge construction, and 3. The cause and effect relationship between misusing content knowledge and people reactions. If we are able to address these 3 motivations, we will be able to at least find some solution for the following 3 questions. What can we do to prevent misusing content knowledge? How can diffusion of content knowledge impact on behavior of the public and scientific institutions? And from a knowledge management perspective, what are the main lessons that should be taken into account for these institutions? In order to address these 3 questions, we are going to use qualitative research based on documentary research. We are going to present 3 case of studies based on the medical recent history of Italy, and we are going to use several sources of information, for instance, existing case studies, books, press releases, and newspaper articles, and also videos and websites. The Di Vella methods bears the name from his founder, Luigi Di Vella, who was born in Sicilia and was an Italian doctor and also a physiology professor. Di Vella, until his death, claimed that his cure was effective. Di Vella claimed that his treatments stimulate the body's self-healing properties without damaging healthy cells. However, he provided no supporting experimental evidence, and despite his claims to have cured thousands of patients with a variety of cancers, never documented his clinical results in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. In 1997, the Ministry of Health authorized his treatments and provided scientific support. However, some cancer specialists were critical and refused to participate in this study because they believed it was unethical. Silvio Garitani, a respected pharmacologist who heads the Mario Negri Institute in Milan, has described the Di Vella regimen as a totally irrational association of drugs supported by absolutely no scientific evidence or data whatsoever. Therefore, in order to get over this involuntary spread of counter knowledge, we need further research and scientific knowledge. Davide Vanoni was born in 1967 in Turin and he died in December 2019, last year. He was an associate professor at the University of Udine for the communication programs of the Humanities Department. In 2009, he founded Stamina Foundation, a self-declared non-profit organization of which he was the president, and he also owned a market research company. Let me tell you that Vanoni has never produced scientific evidence concerning the efficacy of the method, but he has always advocated its validity by using videos, television programs, or even advertisements. From the investigation of the prosecutor of Turin, researchers found that the benefits shown in these videos were not measured by using scientific method in an objective way. And they found that the results of these videos were part of content knowledge. In fact, they found exaggeration and partial lengths in the content of these of these devices, these methods, and these papers. Faced with pro-stamina street demonstrations and stance pressure from the media, the Italian government decided in May 2013 to allow the stamina therapy to be provided in public hospitals despite the protests of the Italian and international scientific community. However, the experimental treatment was discontinued in October 2014. We do think that the stamina case is a good example of how misusing counter knowledge can generate conflict between defenders and protesters of this treatment. Anti-vaccinations versus vaccination is the last case of study. This topic is of major importance today. It should be noted that The Guardian's published a recent study of May 2020 in which a survey found that 20% of Americans will not be willing to get vaccinated against COVID-19. These people claim that their motivation derives from official science itself. In fact, there are studies who claim that there is a correlation between vaccines and side effects such as autism. Well, anti-vaxxers are already opposing the coronavirus vaccine that doesn't exist, and their movement could mean that the COVID-19 never goes away because the virus could mutate and other people could be infected. Therefore, again, we need scientific knowledge to address these problems and find out a solution, because there are people who could claim, okay, it's my body, it's my choice. However, the government could also say, it's not your body, it's your choice, because it's a national security issue, and therefore I have to vaccine you in order to protect other people. Well, after having reviewed these three short case of studies, we can go ahead with our main conclusions. This study follows an exploratory method using multiple sources of data and setting the grounds for further research. Therefore, we encourage academics and also professionals to find out solutions to address the problems caused by misusing counter-knowledge. The first conclusions that we find out is that the ingredients of counter-knowledge, when we talk about rumor, gossips, and support the explanation or even false justification, are not necessarily bad. People can use them in a fun way as a mechanism to raise their mood, encourage cooperation, relieve stress, or even a reality or a check of the reality. However, when people use these ingredients to generate fake news, hoaxes, partial truths, lies, or slanders, well, we are in another context, and we need to avoid this because the effect could be very dangerous for the populations. They can generate anger, they can generate anxiety, frustration, and disinformation among citizens, and therefore these people can take for granted that they are using verified sources of information, and in fact they are using false statements which could lead them to make wrong decisions. Since misinformation is serious matters today, we need some ways to address these problems. It should be noted that in the past we have used knowledge management structures to address these problems. For instance, awareness, relinquishing, relearning, realize assertive capacity. All these knowledge management structures have been used at the individual, group, and organizational level in several studies. Therefore, we do think that these knowledge management structures could be used also on the organizational and national and maybe international level. We encourage organizations to support the utilization of knowledge management structures to filter fake news, to refining fake news, and also to delete, when it is required, this wrong statement and these unverified sources of information. Well, that is all. I would like to say thank you for your attention, and please feel free to ask us. You can see the email of Ettore and also my own email. Just in case you have any question, any doubt, we will be more than happy to receive your email. Thank you so much for your attention.